show, what a night. This is what you've come for, and so have I.
Tell me, what's the number one television show in the whole wide world? And who loves you, and who do you love? One more time.
Big round of applause for all of our undercard competitors who today died so gruesomely. Good sports. He is the creature. What can we say about him? Well, he's unique. There's none like him. I feel a special connection with him.
Without further ado, it's time to start running!
Good Sunday morning, everybody. How is it going? How are you doing? Hey, Ben. How's your week? Have you made it? Have you made it to the weekend? I think most of us made it, right? Good. If there's some stragglers, please help them out. We'll get there, guys, one by one. So this week, if you guys were paying attention earlier in the week, sorry, just closing some extra stuff. Gotcha. If you were paying attention earlier in the week, I put out a couple videos. What I thought were some pretty cool stuff related to ElevenLabs. I also got my promo video out there. Definitely going to be putting another one out soon now that I got the intro done, which is really what took the massive amount of time. It wasn't so much anything else as much as it was that. And what else is on the table? Well, so the stuff from ElevenLabs. There's some news. There's always some news. I would get into it, but I'll stay on it all day. So I'll just say that, Vision Pro, not what anyone really expected. I don't think. I think people were expecting more. Let's put it that way. I think people were expecting more for less, for sure. And I don't think anybody was expecting it to debut at 3,500. I think most people were expecting it to debut closer to the promised $1,500 range, which apparently they couldn't hit after all. Not, super surprising for Apple, for them to say we're not going to put some. I mean, to say that it's not as if they've never made lesser expensive models of things. I just don't think that they're in the market for it right now, just given the amount of money that they've put into just the R&D for what they're doing, just the R&D for the rig that they have going. I think, let's take a look at it. I didn't want to. I said I wasn't going to spend a ton of time on it. That's all I said. So, a couple things to note. I just watched, and that's the only reason I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. Is my wife's already fed up with the amount of Apple bashing I've done this morning. So I'll just highlight some stuff. Essentially, my takeaway from it is that it's really not that different from using any other goggle rig. It just really isn't. The main difference that people seem to point out is the pass-through ability, like the just the 24/7 pass-through that you have, which, okay, so what does all this stuff mean? Pass-through means that you can see through the environment that you're in. So if you've used VR so far, when you have a rig on, it usually blacks out the rest, like everything else around you, so that you can obviously just focus on the, it increases the sense, right? The extra sensory perception that goes along with, experiencing a virtual reality. It makes it seem far more realistic. So when you have pass through, that kind of brings you back into reality. That's where it starts to cross the boundary and become sort of augmented reality. So what is the difference between those three things? One is VR. You're in a closed, contained environment. Everything you do operates inside of that environment. The second version of that, to me, is AR, where it is your reality. However, using the rig that you're wearing, it's been augmented and or changed through whatever program or software that you're running, so that you can interact with your environment in a different way. Then at the far end of the other end of it is pass through, where essentially what you're doing is you're opening up a screen within your purview. That's it, right? So now that's not saying that that's not cool. That is very cool, right? What's the difference between that and AR? AR would be like a better version of it, not for nothing. A better version of it would be that you had the option between, since you have all these cameras and sensors and everything in this rig, you'd have the option between placing your content on a surface or creating a surface to place your content onto. You only have the second option, which is not even really that you can create a surface to have your content onto. So like how this person is sitting here watching this, it would be great if the way in which it got up there was for you to click, whatever, tap on the content, tap the wall, and it goes up onto the wall, right? How this works is, in actuality, is the same way as every other rig, where you open the application, it goes to a certain size, then you can resize it, and then you manually move it around to where you want to view it. That's not, and like the fact that you have all of these eye tracking sensors, which is really great, but I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. I guess it's just the fact that like the pass through thing is really just, it's such a small aspect of it to say that it's so different. It's not. Like just having 24/7 pass through, which you can have with newer rigs like Oculus and stuff, like Oculus 3 or Meta, whatever it is, whatever it's called now. The newer version of it, it's very much the same thing. You can see, you have the same degree of pass through. It's no different. You can do all the same things. You can pull up your apps in all the same way. Oh yeah, except for the fact that it's not. It's cordless. Like Apple actually somehow got people not only to spend $3,500 on a new piece of hardware, they got people to spend $3,500 on a new corded piece of hardware. I mean, like, I can't remember the last time, and maybe they're banking on that, the fact that like, well, everybody else is cordless, we're gonna go with corded, and somehow that's gonna be super unique, and people are gonna want to use the product because of that. I don't know, hope so. Not really that awesome to me. What's even worse is the cord that comes with this, right, goes to a battery pack that you carry on you, which seems pretty cool, except for the fact that you can't change it out. So if you want to add more power, it's like the one feature they're not going to talk about or focus on at all. If you wanted to add more power, yeah, they really don't even reference it at all. Well, for good reason. If you wanted to add additional power or whatever, 2.5 hours of general use and 2 hours of general use and 2.5 hours of video playback. So if you're combining the two, if you're multitasking, you don't really have an understanding for how long the power is. It's maybe an hour. I would say an hour and a half at best. If you're using an application while watching a video, let's say, it's probably an hour and a half. So what's the timing on my rig? I think on my rig it's like 3 hours on Oculus 2. So Oculus 3 I imagine is maybe a little bit higher than that. I kind of don't care. I'm not, I'm not trying to be in VR for longer than, 2 hours at a time. Even being in VR for longer than an hour is a struggle. So yeah, it's, when the applications for being in there longer get there, then I'll worry about it. The what I found funny was the fact that this cable that connects, the battery that it connects to, you can't disconnect it. You can only disconnect it from here. You can't disconnect it at the battery source. At the battery source is another little USB-C plug so that you can actually connect a power source to the battery to connect to your headset for $3,500. Right? Like, that's the reason, like, people ask, my wife asked me, like, why are you ripping into it? Why do you make fun of it? I make fun of it because it is such a high price point for you to have so many, like, little, really, like, they're not nitpicky. It's not nitpicky to say, hey, why are you not wireless like every other headset out there? And for your reason for not being wireless to be because I'm tethered to a shorter length battery than they are. There's no positive. There's no positive for why you're tethered to a battery. I don't see one. I don't see anything shown here like, oh, we decided to tether it because this reason. No, they just did it because they felt that it was going to make the overall amount of the rig way less because they decided to use metal so that they could hold a glass screen on the front. So there's two pieces of glass, right? Which, seems like it's very lightweight. It isn't, because the types of screens that we're all looking in and looking at and all that kind of stuff, it's all scientifically designed, right? Calibrated to the tiniest little micron of a measurement. And also, for general purpose uses, scratch resistant and all that kind of stuff. So it's a cost. It's a high cost. And the glass is not it's outside of the cost. It's not like thin and it's not lightweight, right? The majority of the weight on your phone is the screen. In case you wanted to figure out, like, how much does it weigh, the majority of the weight on your phone is your screen, right? The great majority of the weight is your screen. So you have two of those. You have a metal casing on it, which, when I say metal casing, I don't mean it's like thick metal. Obviously, they tried to make it as lightweight as possible. End result, does it weigh as much as most other Oculus rigs? Yes. Even though you took the battery off of it, it still weighs almost as much as other Oculus rigs. So what's really being saved there? I think the latest Oculus rig actually has its battery mounted on the back, which at least gives you the head stabilization factor. From one of the things I pointed out to my wife that I think we'll start saying more and more, especially because people like Apple users are going to be using it and not much is going to be said. I'm sure pretty soon you're going to see some type of a secondary hardware piece to go with it that maybe even matches up to these grooves. Because so far I'm seeing, like, I think I watched the video from Casey Neistat and he was wearing it for the first time. And I couldn't help but notice that almost the entire time that he was wearing it in the video, he was looking down. Right, so there is it's because the rig is so forward heavy, front heavy. You do actually, initially, when you're using this stuff, even myself, even when I first started using it, you have to, like, consciously remind yourself to look up, because you don't realize that because the content is in front of your eyes, you actually lose track of yourself a bit physically, and you don't realize that you're necessarily looking down physically because the content is still in front of you, so your brain doesn't feel like that's happening, right? Even though physically you were actually, like, tilting your neck. Anyhow, a lot of physical side effects might come out of this one. So did some poking around with that this morning in terms of just looking at what's the latest. Was looking at a couple of different reviews. Do I think that it's the future of VR and all that kind of stuff? No, I think that the form factor is what it is. I don't think that Vision's version, or I don't think the Apple Vision version of it is any better. From what I could see, with the stat video, let me get my other free YouTube, or not free, my paid account that we don't have to sit through ads on. Oh, you know what? I also, let me see. I actually have to find should find a YouTube version of it. When it comes to playing music, I have learned very quickly that copyright free isn't necessarily copyright free. At least I'm not sure why it's one thing on Spotify and it's different on YouTube. I'm not entirely sure. But what I do like is that I do have, I forgot through, yeah. I actually have music that I'm able to play for you guys through ElevenLabs. They came out with this nice little app so that I don't even have to worry about whether or not I'm using unlicensed music. I'm not a shill for ElevenLabs. I just wanted to show you what I was doing here. So obviously we all love lo-fi. And I got some lo-fi beats, I guess. There we go. I think I don't have the monitor on for it, so I actually can't hear it. I assume it's playing. At least I could see it on. And I guess that's part of the problem for me, is that you guys can hear it, but I can't, right? Because it's playing. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Hopefully that's not the only way I can test this to try for myself. There's nothing. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So at least I don't have to worry too much about like whether I'm using rights violations, music, or something. Anyhow. Alright, so what I wanted to show you guys was Casey Neistat. I don't really know how to Neistat yet. I just wanted to show the what it looks like from the outside, I guess. Just because he did okay, so I just want you guys to just notice the external thing, because that's what one of the things that really kind of pissed me off right away was what Apple is trying to sell people on versus what you're actually getting. I guess that's why it's really starting to piss me off, because it's like, wow, for once they're stepping into the arena that they have never been in, which is bullshitting people. Like, they, I could at least hold them to that regard, that okay, but when Apple makes a product, they make a product, they don't bullshit you on it. Well, that's starting to become the case, right? Because from the advertising, it looks as though, and what you're being sold on, and what you're being told, and the reason that the price tag is so high is because it has 80 different cameras on the inside of it. I'm exaggerating, of course. All that are looking at your face and looking at your eye to track your eye movement, all this other crap. And also the reason that you're paying for this massively overpriced and unnecessary screen on the front of it, the only reason that it's there is for other people to be able to see your face and see your facial expressions, except that it doesn't work all the time. So sometimes you're just staring at a gray screen face thing. And I'm not really sure why that's the case. Now, this is kind of cool because that's video from of him. That's virtual video of him while he's wearing the rig. Yes, that's cool, right? Hands down, that's very cool. Because it's also like, if you didn't notice, it's also like a nice little 3D, right? 3D model, and it's like very like that's really now. Why should I not be so excited about this? Okay, I should not be so excited, even though this is very cool, right? Let me see. I want to say Zux did it with and Lex. Yep. Yeah, metaverse, something like that. God, is that the music that sounds like it's playing twice? Yeah, wow, that is the worst lo-fi track ever. Apologize for that. Okay, anyway. So, this is Meta's version, right? That's what it looks like inside. Yes, not joking. That's what it looks like inside Meta's version. So I don't know if you guys have seen this video yet, but this is Lex Friedman and Mark Zuckerberg having a conversation with each other. Obviously, Lex is at Boston and Mark is in California. Right, like that's where we're at from the other side of the fence, from the not having to spend $3,500 side of the fence. Right, so this is the only reason why, like, when I make these comments about like, this isn't really that great, it's not really that big a deal. I say that because you're spending a ton of money for something that is very cool, but other people are doing it too, and they're not asking a ton of money for the same thing, right? And so this technology, it's kind of like the same as when we talk about like AI apps and stuff like that. Should you be spending your money on these things in certain areas or whatever? And it all comes down to whether or not there's another competitor out there that's going to be doing the same thing, is doing the same thing, or is about to do the same thing, right? And if there is, rest assured the other guy's going to do it better, faster, cheaper, right? So if there's a bigger conglomerate out there to do it, Meta has more resources to throw at this stuff. Everybody might sit there and talk about Apple as though it has godlike resources and money to spend on this stuff. You guys have to just remember what they do. Computers. They make computers. They make operating systems, right? And they make phones. Now they're going to try to make VR rigs, and now they're going to try to get into AI, and now they're going to try to get into VR, right? So, like, it's real late to the game. Not saying that that's a terrible thing, but Apple's usually not late to the party. Now they have shown up late to the party. They showed up with the most gaudy attire possible and have decided not even to shrug about it. They're just, that's what it is, right? And then trying to claim that nobody else has it either, or that nobody else is as good or as far along or whatever. Well, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Zux is just as far along as they are. That getting folded into, in terms of the rig looking, snazzy and everything like that. Yes, I think a lot of people are saying the same thing. Like, oh, it looks like you're wearing, goggles. It looks like you're wearing ski mask. Totally understand it. I do. I guess the reason I really don't care as much about that is because I don't care what other people. I don't care how it looks, how I look wearing my rig. I don't care. I'm wearing the rig to use it, to go to another place, like in virtual reality. I don't care what it looks like while I'm doing that. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Anyhow, so while he's walking around, right, you can see that, like, sometimes it's on, sometimes it's off. Sometimes you can see his face and sometimes you can't. Whereas he can always see, right? That, which is perfectly, like, that's obviously you want to be able to do that. Okay, and then that aspect too, right? So then the fact that, like, you have to touch your fingertips together, which is the same for every other rig. right? So Apple didn't come up with that. That was something that Oculus was using. It's not like, so in other words, if, you know, Apple is trying to do something groundbreaking, once again, no. Okay, so this was a pass-through thing that I thought was kind of cool, kind of not, and then a little bit scary if you're a new user. So watch that there's no pass-through on content no matter how close you get to the content. Right, so if you weren't really paying attention or something, or somebody took your attention for a second, and clearly, like, you know, obviously responsible use, but we all know how responsible use works. You're not the one that's irresponsible with it. It's the person that, you know, we make rules for, you know, the people who are not good at doing things. What he was just illustrating there was the fact that when you're on a train or you're on a moving object, clearly additional points of tracking are moving and you aren't. And even though there is space that is not moving, right? The rig in and of itself is trying to track, and in order for it to track, it needs all those other aspects. So part of my question about the whole face not showing up thing is somewhat related to that. Is it a result of, is the face not showing up a result of the tracking not being there to be able to accurately display his face for some reason? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to hinder it on that. It's just, I wanted to just point that out as part of, like, Marquise does a much better job of reviewing stuff only because he's like an actual tech reviewer as well. You know, like that, it gets to me. It gets to me so much only because of the fact that you're paying so much money for this thing, right? So it's like, if it can't do the simple quirky things it was supposed to be able to do at launch, like, I don't understand what the point of it is. I'm very much looking forward to the new meta rig. I think version 3 is already out, but I think that Meta has its own version coming out soon. I don't know. I'm not paying that close attention to the hardware aspect of things, but it's I look forward to it only because they go after it in terms of people having money to spend on stuff. Like I said, Apple has to worry about all of the hardware that it has to pay for, the overhead related to that hardware and all that kind of thing. Facebook is just a software company. They barely make hardware. The portal is nothing. Like, the hardware that they do make is nothing. It's a joke. The cost of support for it is very minimal. R&D for it is very minimal. For them to get into this game, again, they're not worried about vertically integrating everything, so they're fine partnering with Oculus to do the hardware for them while they work on the software and the VR aspect of things and the technology behind it with the language model. You know, those partnerships make sense if you're going to sit there and try to vertically integrate every single aspect of what it is that you're doing. Not only is it going to take a lot longer, it's going to cost a lot more, right? So that's what Apple users are paying for. You're paying for vertically integrated technology that works just as good as the non-vertically integrated technology. So it is. It's just a matter of style. Either you like apples or oranges, you like Ferraris or Lamborghinis, you know, something like that, I guess, at the end of the day, to me. What else was, oh yeah, so like some pretty major developments with GPT, just in terms of being able to mention other models within GPT. So when it comes to using the mention for one thing, you can really only call models that you have used before, or that you have like like you've used recently, because it's not even about like what's in your sidebar versus what's in, you know, the store. The store, I'm still waiting on the monetization aspect of this. I don't know why that hasn't developed more. I'm not sure. There's no real additional news around it. Where are we at? I haven't checked this week. Still at the top. I don't expect to be unseated ever. I wanted to see if it was gonna go to 1.1 or not. Anyhow, yeah, I don't know if or when. Let's see. GPT store. I don't look at it often at all. What are you talking about? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could. So that's the other thing. I'm working on, and it's not available yet, so it doesn't matter if you go to the site, you're still not going to be able to use it. I'm trying to make Harry available for all of you guys so that you can just, willy nilly just go interact with either HubSpot Harry or any of the other models that I make. Um, I'm nearly there. There's I don't understand everything there is to know about back end server stuff, right? GPT's helping me out with that. As soon as that gets up, I don't know that it's not going to be something that I monetize. So I'm not doing it so that I can make money off of people. I'm doing it so that people can like use it and do cool things with it. I do, I will put up a Patreon page, and I do hope that people donate to make it a little bit easier. And what I was going to say is I'm hoping for the store to start doing its monetization aspect so that I can make money to pay for people to have free access to it. So hopefully that pans out soon. Waiting for that as far as GPT news is concerned. In terms of calling other GPTs to what you're currently doing, depends on what you're building, and I suppose how complex it is. So like, what's the purpose of something like this? Would be, I don't know, if you wanted to say call or say I don't want, yeah, because we're not going to do much with GPT today. We're going to actually do a lot more with ElevenLabs. Like, come up with some ideas for a chatbot. So I'm just going to come up with some ideas, then I'm going to pass it off to another bot to execute on those ideas, and then I'm going to pass it off to yet another bot to execute on that, basically. Some trap-fi. Let's see. Yeah, that should be applied there. Call to action, low optimization. Yes, of course, of course. Create a visual description for a site that deals with. What is this? There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is have this come up with this whole visual description. I'm going to take this and feed it into Grimoire and have Grimoire give me the page layout. So I'm just using whatever, just asking it to create the HTML page based on this description, including CSS and JavaScript that might be needed for it. that's why you would use. That's why you would use different bots, or how you would use, like, talking to different bots within a conversation. Is it baller ass background music? It's a little loud though. I suppose that makes more sense there. Okay, cool. And then let's see, JS Fiddle. It's my favorite, like, little testing ground for code of all types. Paste that in there. Copy. I'm not saying this is gonna be amazing. I just want to see what it's even gonna be. It's like nothing. It's like a whole lot of nothing. Let me see. Okay. Did not realize it was going to be a trap selection this morning. Yeah, wow. It goes all over the place. It's like trap, Colombian, Jamaican. Okay. Grab the index. I want that CSS yet. CSS. And Java. Which I don't think is actually super necessary. Sweet. What do you guys think about that? It's pretty sick, huh? Full website in under 10, like, well, it's not a full website, let's not go too far with it, but like, stood up a site in less than 10 minutes just by using GPT-4 and plugging Grimoire into it. Let's see. See, that's another thing. I was actually looking at a post this morning that was talking about like what you do when you prompt, like what kind of like not necessarily guidelines, but like what rules do you follow, or like rules of thumb or whatever when it comes to doing prompting and creating prompts. And it's like, well, realistically, I don't have like, I don't know, rules that I follow so much as terminology. Like I try to be very careful with terminology. So like, can you alter the CSS to make it more visually appealing? Supposedly, like, can you change? Right? Change is like, it does mean that, right? This is what's funny. To change or cause to change in character or composition, typically in comparatively small but significant way, right? Change, to make someone or something different, alter or modify, to replace with something else, especially something of the same kind that is newer or better, substitute one thing for another. Substituting one thing for another is not the same as changing something, typically in a comparatively small but significant way. That's not the same. if you are changing especially something of the same kind or that is newer, better, or substitute one thing for another, changing something is just that. It's like, it's change. Altering something is like, it's a little bit, right? Like the words have meaning. Words have power. Like there's the whole point. We don't have different words for just there are some cases in which we have slang, right? Which is like the shits and giggles version of words. But for the most part, are there too many words that mean the same thing? Yeah, I can agree there. I'm sure there's definitely some cases where there's like 12 words to say the same thing, and they're only very, very slightly different from each other, so there really should only be 4, but we can't have the extras for whatever reason. Anyhow, there is a difference, right? So I don't want to significantly, I don't want the model to make a significant difference or a significant change. I only want it to just slightly change it. So change the color scheme, typography, layout, and method of interaction. Very nice. It's a lot friendlier. Ooh, some nice floating animation going on there too. Oh, looks almost like a. That's funny. It went with colors that are more closely associated with like medical, health, reinvigorating, rejuvenating, like blues, uplifting, calming. That's interesting. Anyhow, so that's it's one example of like how you would bring one GPT into another. I'm trying to think of a GPT that okay, so let me add my writer. Create a blog post. Okay. So that's the thing, is you could switch which model's running at the time that you're giving it the command, or something like that. See, I mean, like, this is actually very cool to me because you can document your entire process. So let's say you're working with a GPT to do something in particular, right? And you actually accomplish that goal. Well, now you can actually embed another GPT to summarize the conversation and summarize the process of how you got from A to Z so that you don't have to, right? You could try to ask the GPT-4 model within the combo, but the difference would be like you're working with a GPT model, let's say that's specific to, I don't know, coding, and then you pull in another model that's specific to medical. You would not want to ask either of those two models to then try to do something creatively written for that purpose. So you can pull in a creative writing model to do that for you instead. In my opinion, I think it's amazing to be able to pull the different models in and out and use them interchangeably. And then, of course, yeah, if you want to go back to standard 4, just turn the model off and go back to standard 4. Or you can go in and pull in a different model that you need to, right? So let's go to Canva and we'll say create, what do we want to do here? Create a really, I can't spell. I really can't. If I yell at myself enough, it helps. Yes, you can always talk to it. Quit asking. I gotta have Narit on here one day. I'm gonna see if I can get her on here and show you guys like Canva hacks, because she is amazing at using Canva. Yay, thumbnail options. Not the greatest of them, but nevertheless. So that's, if you guys didn't know like what the purpose of the Canva plugin was, that's the purpose of it, is to be able to essentially pre-create visual designs of what you're working on. As soon as you click on these, it'll go through into your Canva account. It'll pull this up as a project for you to work on. What's nice about doing it in here is that you can work on it in here without creating multiple projects in Canva that you'll then have to go in and delete. You can just do it all here, and then when you're satisfied with whichever option you want, then you can click and create that as a project in Canva. Excuse me. So anyhow, that's the joy now, is being able to use one model to do all of the things, and I don't have to switch conversations. I can just keep bringing in whichever model I need to complete whatever part of this aspect that I want to. I can even go back to Grimoire and say, can you please create I say that you can even. I don't know that this is actually possible. I'm just saying that you could even ask it to do this. See, so it is. It's going in and it's reading the fact that there's geometric shapes and colors and whatnot in the design. It appears to incorporate modern tech-oriented style with a blend of blue hues, which has common theme in technology and AI-related designs. So here's a new body and background. Body. Did you do it somewhere already? Oh, wow. Interesting. Did not come through at all. Am I blocking it somehow? Oh, because you're asking for a container. I don't know that that's where it envisioned it. More than likely not. Let me see. When in doubt. See, that's, I will say I've noticed that. So like before I would actually like memorize this kind of thing. And I am noticing now that instead of like memorizing like the how-to aspect of things, instead I memorize the prompting, or like how to ask, which is the better way to go. I'm memorizing the shorthand. It's doing all the longhand. What's happening, man? Okay. let's go. I'm going off the reservation now, trying to make something happen that I really shouldn't. That's all good. I can always play with it again later. But at least you kind of have an understanding for like why you would want to embed or what the use case is for being able to call other GPTs. Oh, that sucks. Let me see. It's weird. I'm trying to use undo or whatever, undo redo to fix something that's not necessarily broken. There we go. I'm sure you guys knew that's exactly what I was trying to get at. All right. So what did I want to show you guys today? I wanted to show you guys some fun stuff today. So I was playing around with ElevenLabs last week. I'm gonna go ahead and open up Audition too, and had a lot of fun with it. Man, I had so much fun playing with this thing. It's crazy how quick and easy it is to do some manipulation. So that's what I wanted to show people today. It's like, you know, you're hearing all the hype and talk about like, oh, the political manipulation and how much fake news is going to be created as a result of AI capabilities. I'm not sure how many people understand how easy it is to do this stuff, so that's why I wanted to do this, was to essentially illustrate how quickly and easily, how quick and easy it is to create fake content now. I should have spent slightly more time doing the video aspect of this, but I think I'm going to do that for next week, so it makes like a great two-part series for this. But for right now, let's just start on the audio. So we're going to go to ElevenLabs. There's no other tool to want to use for this. There's no other tool that's better for this. And I don't think you're going to be able to beat the cost on this either. Oh, that's nice. I did not realize. Oh man. Just having seen that there's a API key for this. Where is... There we go. It's right in my face. Yeah, so for free you can play around with it and do a lot, and you'll get a very good understanding for it. Starter is really decent. 30,000 is pretty good. I switched to creator just for this week, essentially, or this month, I suppose, just because I actually hit the limit on 30K. I didn't think that I would, but as soon as I started getting into it and I started getting better at it, all of a sudden you start using up that time real fast. So this is actually really cool too. And obviously once you get into the higher brackets, so it's like, well, why is it so expensive? This is what's hilarious. People who don't know anything about it, all the way up to people who know something about it, but like you're just playing around, right? And then I'm right in this ballpark right here. And then, you know, people who are taking it a little bit more seriously, and maybe they want to do something semi-pro, and then it's just pros, right? Like this is if you are a voice actor, or you are seriously breaking into voice acting. This is if you are already into voice acting and you're doing tons and tons and tons of books. And then this is probably if you are a publisher who is trying to purchase and or work with cloning voice actors. Hands down, like that is the way this bracket works. I can say that only because of the fact that I've watched voice actors on TikTok and they are scared shitless. Like they even tried, they tried to, was it FCC? Here's how hilarious it is, right? In terms of regulation. When are you going to see regulation come out of the government? When it actually affects the government. Let's see. Now, why are they regulating this specific aspect of things too? So the FCC is not criminalizing AI generated voice content. No. just robocalls. That's it. And we're not even talking about like call centers. So they're not even like throwing down the hammer and saying call centers can't fire people in lieu of AI. Nope. They're just saying, okay, you gotta be, you have to be more responsible with your AI generated robocalls, right? It's already causing confusion to consumers. Essentially what they're saying, and this is in lieu of a robocall that went out that was in Joe Biden's voice asking people not to vote for him or something like that. I forget what it is, right? No matter what celebrity or politician you favor or what your relationship is with your kid, when they call for help, it is possible we could all be the target of with your kid. Oh my gosh. It is possible we could all be a target of these faked calls. Yes, we definitely can. We've deprioritized fraud as a crime in this country, which comes to us from us immediately having a knee-jerk reaction of blaming the victim for not knowing something, which I don't know what to tell you. Yes, like, what's funny is, I laugh at this, right? But one of my favorite movies that is now, I can easily say, of all time, that just came out recently, is The Beekeeper. And the premise of that movie is that the guy's caretaker, you could say, for lack of a better word, she ends up getting taken by a confidence, not a confidence scam, but by scam artists who grift her for her password to all of her financial accounts, and they steal all her money. And yes, you could say, same as this case, like, well, you didn't know, so you got taken. Like, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I mean, I want to say that about these situations too, that, if you don't know, you're gonna get messed up. I've been saying it since the beginning of last year that, like, if you don't wrap your head around this stuff, you're gonna be in for a world of hurt. Kind of sucks because I'm sure that my mom would get taken by something like this too, but I don't know. I mean, I already showed her this ability just so that she has an understanding of like what the case is, and I told her, I'm like, look, if you hear something that sounds too good to be true, it is. It's an old adage, but it works so well, and it cuts through any level of technology you can possibly think of, because it's not the application of the technology, it's the application of the mindset behind the technology, right? It's not this voice software that's scamming people, it's the person who's using the voice software that's scamming people, right? So again, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. So let's having said that, let's clone a voice and try to scam some people. Not in that way. Let's try to make people think that it is actually the person's voice. All right, so I don't want to do I do want to do Biden, but I don't, because I don't want to why not? Why not? If you're gonna use an example, use a good example, right? It'll be interesting if I can make this work, because I've tried doing, I'll say this much, I've tried doing like regular voices, let's say, right? I haven't tried it with let's see. I suppose if I did it with like maybe Andy Rooney, that might work. Like, you really like you really need a distinctive voice. So what works for this, like the reason these work so well is because you can get speeches from these people where it's like, it's candid, closed audio, and you don't have to worry about any sort of background interference.
Why is filing your taxes with Free Tax USA?
Oh, we're on the wrong profile, that's why. Let's go to this one. No. Okay, so we're gonna use a couple things for this. We're gonna use Audacity. We're gonna use Adobe Audition. Probably could just use Audition right out the gate. but I don't want to play, like, the only reason I'm not doing it is because I don't want to play around with, it's almost like a control board with how my sound works. If you guys have watched this show enough, you understand how many issues I have with sound going on here, so, I'm sure that you can, like, understand or at least sympathize with why I'm not going to risk changing my sound settings. Okay. So we're gonna do a few things here. What we want to focus on. I'm gonna turn off the lo-fi for just a little bit, because I also need to make sure that the audio in the recording is clean, which means that I can't have any other background audio playing. No, not that guy. Not that either. Close. There it is. Only like 500 windows open now instead of 30. All right, so we've got our source, we've got our Audacity. So what I was saying about the audio issue or the audio things is, like, you know, the audio settings here are different, right? It's looking at microphone and speaker. The audio settings for Audacity are looking at speaker to speaker, so it's looping the playback to record it. It's just different. And if I change this to be the same as this, it'll change something over here, and I don't have enough luck, so we're not doing that today. Let's just not open up Visual Studio. Thanks. Let's click. Let's get our source.
Just spoke with the families of 3 Georgia service members killed in a drone attack in Jordan. We told you about this yesterday. The president called the families earlier today and plans to travel to Dover Air Force Base. All group blame farming. We're still over time.
Oh, cool. So it was a whole video of him not actually talking. Gotta love the media. Really do. People, like, YouTube should never have allowed for, I mean, I get the purpose of thumbnails, but it's, you know, when you're using a thumbnail that is just absolutely, it's not even close to encompassing what the content of the video is. Come on. This is annoying. This is why no one likes Google anymore. It's because everything that I am trying to find that should be perfectly easy is not. For some reason.
Economic growth is up, stronger than expert expected at 2.9%. We're growing.
I can't see how long this clip is. It's so annoying.
Mr. President, as you know, last Tuesday, the annual inflation rate came in at 8.3%. The stock market nosedived. People are shocked by their grocery bills. What can you do better and faster?
Well, first of all, let's put this in perspective. Inflation rate month to month was just
I'm sorry to make you guys
hardly at all.
You're not arguing
listen
that
to any of this.
8.3 is good news.
No, I'm not saying it is good news, but it was 8.2 or 8.2 before. I mean, it's not. I can make it sound like all of a sudden, my God, it went to 8.2%. It's
the highest inflation rate, Mr. President, in 40 years.
I got that, but guess what we are? We're in a position where for the last several months it hasn't spiked. It is just barely, it's been basically even. And in the meantime, we created all these jobs and prices have gone up.
Just watching the timers, guys. I'm just watching the timers.
The fact is,
I should have picked somebody different so it wouldn't be
new
politically whatever.
Since we came to office, we're in a situation where
just understand, I don't care about the politics. I just want the voice.
3.7%, one of the lowest in history. We're in a situation where manufacturing is coming back to the United States in a big way. And look down the road, we have massive investments being made in computer chips and employment. So look, this is a process. This is a process.
I need all of that.
Is the economy going to get worse before it gets?
I need all of that, like trust me, it's going to come into play.
This is a process. This is a process.
Okay, just even the fact that he repeats himself it plays into it. Believe me.
But guess what?
It's the highest inflation rate, Mr. President, in 40 years.
I got that. 0.2%. But guess what we are? We're in a position, but it was 8 point.
So we're just cleaning this up a little
Hardly
bit.
at all.
You're not arguing that 8.3 is good news.
No, I'm not saying it is good news, but it was 8 point. It was just an inch. But it was 8.
I'm not doing this on purpose. I mean, I am cutting it on purpose. I'm not like picking the sections on purpose. I just wanted to, I just need bits and I need to keep his flow consistent.
Inflation rate month to month was just an inch. But it was 8.2 or 8.2 before. I mean, it's not, I can make it sound like all of a sudden, my God, it went to 8.2%. But guess what we are? We're in a position where.
See, I just want to make it sound consistent all the way through.
And faster.
Well, first of all, let's put this in.
Okay, so I think I only need, yep, that amount.
Inflation rate month to month.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and save that. We're going to call this Biden 1. Yeah, I don't do this at all, or like too often at all, right? Okay, and then we'll go ahead and save that out. This is an MP3, if you guys don't mind. Cool. And let's get the next one set up. I don't care about gaffs. I just want, yep, perfect. Perfect. This is exactly what I'm looking for.
Not alarming. March to Valley Forge. General George Washington knew he faced the most daunting of tasks.
Okay, so if you're not like, I'm not saying that I'm an audiophile. I'm just not calling myself an audiophile at all, really. I just wanted to illustrate the difference. Which one? I was just watching with him and Chris Walls, right? This one might actually work better. Oh, okay.
Columbia so much, I asked your former mayor to join me in the White House.
Okay, so what I'm listening for is not listening for do-do-dos, trust me. It's not in there though, is it? Didn't I just do an MP3 output of that? Come on. Come on, man. I could have sworn I just did this. Oh, because I went to the wrong folder. That would explain it all. ElevenLabs, put it there. Okay, cool. Now I can close that up. Now I can come back to this.
Inflation rate month to month was just an inch. But it was 8.2 or 8.2 before. I mean, it's not, I can make it sound like all of a sudden.
Okay, so that's the thing, is like you can hear how nice, clean, crisp his voice is here.
God, it went to 8.2%. But guess what we are? We're in a position where for the last several months it hasn't spiked. It is just barely, it's been basically even. And in the meantime,
and there's like a little bit of fuzz, but it's really, really minor. It's studio fuzz. It's not like that big a deal.
we're fortunate to have Steve Benjamin at my side.
That's gonna suck because there's gonna be people clapping in the background.
To fight and win a war against the most powerful empire existent in the world.
So that's, I mean, I should be able to clean this up, but you can hear that it has like a tube sort of tunnel.
His mission was
sound.
clear. Liberty,
But it'll work.
not conquest. Freedom, not domination. National independence, not individual glory. America made a vow. Never again
God damn, Joe, take it
would we
easy.
bow down to a king. Months ahead would be incredibly difficult. But General Washington knew something in his bones. Something about the spirit of the troops he was leading.
This is going to be so funny.
Something about the soul of the nation he was struggling to be born. In his general order, he predicted, and I quote, with one heart and one mind, with fortitude and with patience, they would overcome every difficulty, the troops he was leading. And they did. They did. This army that lacked blankets and food, clothes and shoes, this army whose march left bloody bare footprints in the snow, this ragtag army made up of ordinary people, their mission, George Washington declared, was nothing less than a sacred cause.
Gotcha. We got our minute, Joe. We're good. We're good, buddy. Don't let yourself go too far.
Would we bow down to a king?
Okay. Yeah, but you clipped back here, didn't you?
America made a vow.
He sure as hell did. He was mad. Like, he was so mad.
America made a vow.
Sounded that way. I'm sorry.
Would we bow?
Okay. Don't worry. We'll fix it live. Cool. Do that thing. Bye. Oh, you saved it in the wrong place again, didn't you? You sure as hell did. I mean, eventually it's gonna make its way in there. Okay. Let's grab a couple more.
Every day, connecting people to jobs and education and opportunities. And 900
report on the Great Lakes serving critical industries like forestry, agriculture.
You can hear they had to turn the gain up a lot.
Report on the Great Lakes serving critical industries like forestry, agriculture, clean energy.
Like, so I don't want to have to clean up the sound of a, he's in, you know, and he's in a factory, so it's like there's not much you can do. I'm not going to sit there and clean up the sound of an air conditioner that's running or a large fan or something like that. Like, I'm trying to avoid that kind of thing.
Yeah, Architectural
Perfect.
Digest. Well,
oh, please tell me it's just
this
like
was the resolution.
Perfect. Such great audio. I actually want to watch this. How long is this? Man, I want to watch this after I'm done.
I've spent more time with the Chinese leader than any other head of state. And he asked me, he said, can I define America? I said, yes, I can, in one word, and I mean it. Possibilities. Possibilities. We Americans think anything is possible when we would do it together. And that's why John Meacham helped my brother pick out those 5 portraits up there. It's all about possibilities. There's not a single thing we can't do. This was the Resolute desk that John Kennedy had. And remember that famous picture?
Directed at Joe.
Where John, his son, where he came out from under the desk. Well, he comes out this door here.
I'm
That's
not
where he
laughing.
climbed out. Well, I have a little grandson, and what I decided to do when we came in here, let me show you. And that's my grandson, Bowie, coming out from underneath the desk. It's really an incredible office. I chose the things that sort of represent why I got into public life to begin with, for real. I wanted to be able to sit at my desk.
Oh, yeah.
More time with the Chinese leader than any other head of state. And he asked me, he said, can I define America? We Americans think possibilities. Possibilities. We Americans think anything is possible when we would do it together. And that's why John Meacham helped my brother pick out those 5 portraits up there. It's all about possibilities. There's not a single thing we can't do. This was...
I knew there was like a little music in there somewhere.
This was the Resolute desk that...
Okay. Did I get it cleanly?
spent more time with the Chinese leader than any other head of state. And he asked me, he said, can I define America? I said, yes, I can. And he asked me, he said, can I? And he asked me, he said, can I define America? I said, yes, I can, in one word, and I mean it, possibilities.
Okay, take that. Let's see. And go. So I wanted to get, excuse me, wanted to get a couple different variations on his voice. I'm gonna bring that into Audacity. And now we're just gonna take a look at these files and clean them up. Because as you can see, they're a little bit dirty.
Inflation rate month to month was just an inch.
Like this, the nice yellows here and this, the defined spikes are his voice. And then all the dark purple crap in between here, this is all fuzz. This is pure fuzz right here.
But guess
yeah, with his, along with his drawing his voice
2%.
in. That's what that looks like when you breathe in. That's what it looks like on audio. It's funny because I could just make that disappear.
In the meantime, we created all these jobs.
Right? Scary stuff. So instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sample it, and then I'm going to use it to create a noise reduction.
We created all. Inflation rate month to month was just an inch, but it was 8.2 or 8.2 before. I mean, it's not. Maybe I can make it sound like all of a sudden, my God, it went to 8.2%. But guess what we are? We're in a position where for the last several months it hasn't spiked. It is just barely. It's been basically even. And in the meantime, we created all these jobs, and prices have gone up, but they've come down for energy. The fact is that we've created 10 million new jobs. We're in a sense, we came to office. We're in a situation where the unemployment rate is about 3.7%, one of the lowest in history. We're in a situation where manufacturing is coming back to the United States in a big way. And look down the road, we have massive investments being made in computer chips and employment. So look, this is a process. This is a process. Inflation rate month to month was just an inch, but it was 8.2 or 8.2 before.
Okay. Yeah, you can see like some of these little valleys of
chips and employment. So look, this is a process. This is a process.
That's what I'm looking for is for the meter to dip appropriately.
Computer chips and
where there is no sound right now, like the fact that he draws in his breath and it hangs here, that's fine because I want characteristics of him to come through. I just don't want garbage in there. Like this is all characterisms of how he speaks.
But it was 8.2 or 8.2 before. I mean, it's not. Maybe I can make it sound like all of a sudden, my God, it went to 8.2%. But guess what we are? We're in a position where for the last several months it hasn't spiked. It is just barely.
But is right here.
It's spiked.
It's very cool when you visually look at sound. It's very cool. But it's in use by Audacity. Bye. Okay, save over. It isn't though. Oh, unless it's, am I playing it? Nice. Bye. All right, second one.
Months ahead.
Capture right.
Months ahead would be incredibly difficult. But General Washington knew something in his bones, something about the spirit of the troops he was leading, something about the soul of the nation he was struggling to be born. In his general order, he predicted, and I quote, "With one heart and one mind, with fortitude and with patience, they would overcome every difficulty," the troops he was leading. And they did. They did. This army that lacked blankets and food, clothes and shoes, this army whose march left bloody bare footprints in the snow, this ragtag army made up of ordinary people, their mission, George Washington declared, was nothing less than a sacred cause.
There's a little bit of.
We bow down to a king. Months ahead would be incredibly difficult. But General Washington knew something in his bones, something about the spirit.
It's close. I'm just trying to keep the tinny sound out of it. I really hate that.
Would we bow down to a king? Months ahead.
Nice and clean now.
Ahead would be incredibly difficult. But
Does that help? Still captures that. Okay, so that's 2 and 3.
possibilities.
There's a nice big section of this. Yep.
He comes out this door here. He comes out this door here.
Boy, when you take stuff out of context.
Door here. That's where he.
See how it has like that little, it's like a tinny sound. That's the best way I can describe it. I really can't describe it any other way. It's what happens when you use electronic noise reduction.
Climbed out. Well, I have a little grandson, and what I decided to do when we came in here, let me show you. And that's my grandson, Bowie, coming out from underneath the desk. It's really an incredible office. I chose the things that sort of represent.
That's good.
It's really an incredible office. I chose Bowie coming out from underneath the desk.
It's all right. It's all right. It's good enough.
It's really an incredible office. I chose the things that, and that's why we do it together. And that's why John Meacham helped my brother.
I'm worried about this.
We Americans think anything is possible when we do it together. And that's why John Meacham helped my brother pick out those 5 portraits up there. It's all about possibilities. There's not a single.
There's some kind of underlying something going on there. It's not really noise reduction. It's sort of like a
single thing we can't do. This was the Resolute desk that John Kennedy had. And remember that famous picture? In one word, and I mean it, possibilities. Possibilities. We Americans. And that's why John Meacham helped my brother pick out. Climbed out. Well, I have a little grandson, and what I decided to do when we came in here, let me show you.
It's just not as present on the second half of this audio as it is on the first.
Find America. I said, yes, I can. In one word, and I mean it, possibilities. Possibilities. We Americans think anything is possible when we do it together. And that's why John Meacham helped my brother pick out those 5 portraits up. Find America. I said, yes, I can. In one word, and I mean it, possibilities. Possibilities. We Americans think anything is possible when we do it together. And that's why John defined America. I said, yes, I can. In one word, and I mean it. He said, can I define America? I said, yes, I can. In one word, and I mean it. Possibilities. Possibilities.
Gotcha.
America. I said, yes, I can, in one word, and I mean it. Possibilities. Possibilities. We Americans think anything.
See how all that other crap dropped off there? Let's see it here. There's a lot of fill in here. All of this here. Let's get stripped out. It's nice. Okay, so now we're done with all 3 cleans. I hope this works. Again, I've tried it with Bill Burr's voice. I've tried it with somebody else. I can't remember. It doesn't always go so well. If it's super distinctive, it works way better. So we're going to go ahead and create a voice. I've got Snoop Dogg. I've got Sofia Vergara. I've got Morgan Freeman, Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump. A couple versions of myself that I need to actually tweak. I think it's the oldest one. I just need to make new ones altogether. And actually, I think I'll do it while we're doing this. Or after, that is. Create a new one for myself. Do instant voice cloning. I'm going to call this Joe Biden. And we'll go to ElevenLabs. Get all our Biden samples. Notice I didn't do anything but cut and clean. That's it. I could go into doing more stuff there. Don't want to. Just wanted to do it fairly quickly. I think I spent, let's be fair, 20 minutes cleaning the audio. All right, so it's uploaded. Let's go ahead and use it. Now, my favorite way of using it is to make it as realistic as possible. We're going to come back over to GPT. We're going to go to ElevenLabs Ellen. It's great at writing stuff for us. And we're going to say, let's go with speaking style, because if you say in the style of, it's not as if that person writes necessarily. Okay, I'm obviously not going to use this whole bit, because what I want to do is just make sure just this amount. I just want to make sure that it's even on track before we start just blowing through tokens. Okay, so you load up the voice, right? You can even do speech. I haven't messed with speech to speech yet either, but I imagine that it's going to be pretty cool, because you basically take audio, like an audio file of yourself, or like an uploaded file, and then you can use your own voice to exaggerate what this, or like to use speak, and then it applies that voice to what you are saying, right? So everything that I'm saying to you now, I would then just apply Morgan Freeman's voice to, and it would sound like Morgan Freeman's voice instead of my own, right? But it would just be whatever I'm saying, which is fairly, it's the same thing as like text to speech synthesis. But anyway, we'll play with it in a second. So you've got all these different models. When it comes to like vocal stuff, it's not necessarily like Midjourney or the other engines where choosing a different model can generate better necessarily or worse necessarily results. It's more like I would say like, okay, use it for use the other like multilingual obviously sort of speaks for itself. Not to, anyway. If you want to use less, essentially have it cost less money on an API level, and then Turbo is sort of like, hey, do you want to sort of soft print the voice, see if it's close to what it is that you're trying to do without spending as much in terms of token use. But if you're like a brand new end user, just go with version 2. It's the best model. It's the most adept at doing what you want it to do. Voice settings is where you're going to spend a majority of your time, which is why I'm not going to take the entire thing and do the entire thing over and over again. I just need to make sure one section is good and that one section has the tone, the cadence, and the style. And then I know I can put the rest of it in and it'll be all right. What I have yet to do and what I need to start doing is keeping notes of where these settings are for each voice because they are different. You can't just use one set of settings for every voice and have it apply universally. I wish it worked that way. It just does not. So anyhow, let's go with Biden. We're going to go just everything maxed to a degree. Okay. Speaker boost is not like audio boost at all. It actually tries to tries harder to apply the synthesized speech. I hope this comes out pretty accurately right out the gate.
Good evening, folks. This is Joe Biden, and I'm here to talk to you about something pretty special, a show that's all about the possibilities of tomorrow. It's called GPT with me.
It's not bad. He's a little too young. Back him off just a hair. Then I'm probably going to start exaggerating the style a bit.
Good evening, folks. This is Joe Biden, and I'm here to talk to you about something pretty special.
He's getting older.
A show that's all about the possibilities of tomorrow. It's called GPT with me.
His name to get a little bit older, a little bit slower. This is the fun part. This is like
Good evening, folks. This is Joe Biden, and I'm here to talk to you about something pretty special. A show that's all about the possibilities of tomorrow. It's called GPT with me.
Let's bring that back, but then let's keep slowing him down a little more. This isn't a matter of like slow fast, by the way. It's just for his voice, making it less stable slows it down.
Good evening, folks. This is Joe Biden, and I'm here to talk to you about something pretty special. A show that's all about the possibilities of tomorrow. It's called GPT with me.
It's good. It's good. A little bit more. Almost there. Come on, buddy. This used to count down.
Good evening,
Now it
folks.
counts
This is
up.
Joe Biden, and I'm here to talk to you about something pretty special. A show that's all about the possibilities of tomorrow. It's called GPT with me.
Yeah. Now we're on the mark. All right. So let's go grab the rest of our audio here. Yeah, it sounds so much like him too. Like the whole God bless thing. Like that's just perfectly Joe. All right. Now, what I have noticed, I'm not sure if this is the case. I should. I'll just go look at it real quick. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Wow. Wow. That's sick. This is gonna be nasty. Oh man, this is why this is gonna be nasty. Oh man, just one little change, right? Alternatives, let's see. Using hyphens, okay. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't work as good. Hyphen works way better than the ellipses. Are you serious? That's crazy, but cool. Wow. Huh. Are you sure? Because I've tried exclamation. Like it's all right at reading uh punctuation. I wouldn't say that it's great at it. Pacing, I would honestly bring right down to whatever the pacing is that you put in. Um, if you're pacing, like if the, that's why like before I was saying that I was recording primarily for that. I was recording because I wanted cadence, I wanted pacing, I wanted the model to understand, okay, here's how the person says a chunk of words, right? That way, it's actually less work on my end when it comes to having to structure it because I only need to structure it in my head the way I think that person would say it, and then it actually kind of falls into place. Oh, Chris Walken. Chris Walken and Bill Burr. I tried doing voices for them and just did not work out well at all. I hope this break time thing, this is gonna be hilarious if it actually hits on the right spots.
Good evening, folks. This is Joe Biden, and I'm here to talk to you about something pretty special. Oh, well, what was it now? Oh, yeah, the show that's all about the possibilities of tomorrow. It's called GPT with me.
That's pretty good.
Now, let me be clear, this isn't just any show. It's a window into a future where technology, like artificial intelligence, is making things better for all of us.
Now,
you know,
notice how it had a really nice natural cadence to it without any of the break stuff in there. Again, that's because of the way in which the voice was recorded. It was recording him speaking in interviews, it was him speaking like at events and stuff like that. So it captured how he speaks in a paragraph format. So that when you type in a paragraph worth of words, it already has a really good understanding of like where it needs to stop, go, put in like any sort of inflections or whatever.
in my time in artificial intelligence is making things better for all of us. You know, in my time in office, I've seen how important technology is for our economy, for our healthcare, for our education. And this show, GPT with me, it's at the forefront of that. It's about understanding where we're headed and how these advancements can help us all, no matter where you come from. So I encourage you to tune in. It's a chance to see the future, to learn about AI, and to be a part of a conversation that matters. It's about hope, opportunity, and yes, the soul of this great nation. That's GPT with me. Thanks for listening, and God bless.
I kind of want to see what it's like if I use the. Because when I think about him speaking, it's kind of broken up like this. Bit more like that. I think this is pretty good though. In less than 30 minutes, been able to clone and successfully reuse Joe Biden's voice. That's why this stuff is so dangerous. I wish I could
Good evening, folks.
say that there was
This is
like
Joe.
a set of instructions that I had to write down for you, but you see how easy it is. Record somebody's voice. If you don't have Audition, I suppose you could use Streamlabs has an audio editor. You could use Audacity. It's absolutely free. You could use that to clean up your audio every bit as much as you can with Audition. It's just easier for me to do it in Audition, obviously, because you can graphically see what you're doing. You don't have to just listen for it, which is a little bit harder. At any rate, you can do all of that with a free piece of audio software. You can do it on your phone. I've done it on my phone before. And throw it all into ElevenLabs, upload it. Again, I've uploaded it on my phone, so I've done this entire practice on mobile. The Donald Trump voice that I did was done on my phone. The Ronald Reagan voice was done on my phone. I think I even did the Morgan Freeman voice on my. No, I did that one on my desktop, but still, it's just as easy.
Biden, and I'm here to talk to you about something pretty special. Oh, well, what was it now? Oh, yeah, a show that's all about the possibilities of tomorrow. It's called GPT with me. Now, let me be clear. This isn't just any show. It's a window into a future where technology, like artificial intelligence, is making things better for all of us. You know, in my time in office, I've seen how important technology is for our economy, for our health.
Now, you notice when he did that, in my time in office, he didn't say, in my time in office, I've seen how important technology is. Right? It went through that, because even though you're using, that's why I said using punctuation sometimes doesn't matter. Even though you use punctuation here that should have caused that break, it didn't. Only dashes cause breaks. So instead, instead of having written it this way, thinking he would read it this way, or that it would read it this way, again, you have to understand the cadence that you put into it and then write according to that cadence. Now, this wasn't written that way because I asked GPT to write it that didn't have any understanding necessarily of what we were doing, or the type of Biden voice, that we were using. So it's understandable in that regard. But that's why, if you're wondering, why did it just skip over that punctuation? It's because, the voice is not programmed to read punctuation. The voice is programmed to just follow cadence based on what it's given to read. I didn't mean to do that.
Healthcare, for our education. And this show, GPT with me, it's at the forefront of that. It's about understanding where we're headed and how these advancements can help us all. Good evening, folks. This is Joe Biden, and I'm here to talk to you about something pretty special. Oh, well, what was it now? Oh, yeah, a show that's all about the possibilities of tomorrow. It's called GPT.
So it even did the pause here slightly different than the last time. It's very much like images, by the way, or dealing with generated images, in that every generation you do, I haven't seen a seed function yet for ElevenLabs. That doesn't mean that there isn't one. I just don't know that that is a thing. That's cool. They have an actual dubbing studio, so you can dub over certain things. It's very it's like Hollywood in a box, and I really like it in terms of what it's able to do for letting people have a huge leg of creativity that they probably would have never had access to. All right, let me see the speech. The speech is this is testing out. Oh, let me see. This is testing out speech to speech. It's testing out what it might be like if I were Joe Biden and he were me and I was actually his age. Oh my God. This is testing out speech to speech. Why is that so loud? It's testing out what it might be like if I were Joe Biden and he were me and I was actually his age. Oh my God.
This is testing out speech to speech. It's testing out what it might be like if I were Joe Biden and he were me and I was actually his age. Oh my God.
That's pretty ball. That's pretty badass. Oh my gosh, let me see. I have to. You know, I have to tell you people something truly amazing. I mean, it's really amazing. To be honest with you, I'm not even sure that I can encompass how amazing it really is. I talked to my people, they talked to their people, they came back to me, they said, "Donald, you know, that thing, it's nothing short of amazing. It's got my stamp of approval. I love it. You love it. Your mother's going to love it. Her boyfriend said she's going to love it. Your dad said to tell you that he loves it. Everybody loves it. It's amazing, solid gold. It's got the Trump stamp of approval, seal of approval, writing of approval, affidavit, everything that you need to you tell your grandmother that it's beautiful. It's great. It's wonderful. You're going to love it." It's like every jargony thing that you could possibly think of. And then repeat it 3 or 4 times. Because what I imagine is like if you're good.
You know, I have to tell you people something truly amazing. I mean, it's really amazing. To be honest with you, I'm not even sure that I can encompass how amazing it really is. I talked to my people, they talked to their people, they came back to me, they said, "Donald, you know, that thing, it's nothing short of amazing. It's got my stamp of approval. I love it. You love it. Your mother's going to love it. Her boyfriend said she's going to love it. Your dad said to tell you that he loves it. Everybody loves it. It's amazing. Solid gold. It's got the Trump stamp of approval, seal of approval, writing of approval, affidavit, everything that you need to you tell your grandmother that it's beautiful. It's great. It's wonderful. You're going to love it."
Oh my God, that is so awesome. It's so awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh my God. See, now I'm thinking of like so many terrible things to do at this point, or terrible things to say. This is where that whole misinformation part comes from, is that you can do something like this, you play around a little bit, and it's like, you know what? I think that's what we're gonna go with. Yes, this is what we're gonna do. Okay. Why are we doing this? Oh, you'll see. It's what I'm reading is just off to the side. Let's do it this way, I suppose. So you guys can see how terrible I am at reading things. Just as terrible at reading as I am at speaking, as typing. It's all encompassed in the same terrible amount of lacking skill. Okay. Voluto note. Okay. Foundation, fragrance, foundation, fragrance, experience. Gianluca. Okay. Introducing Velluto Notte, the latest Italian men's cologne by the renowned high-end brand Gianluca Milano. Designed for the modern man who embodies sophistication and elegance, Velluto Notte is a secret that captivates and intrigues, a luxurious embodiment of nocturnal charm and charisma. At the heart of Velluto Notte lies a harmonious blend of rich, earthy tones and refreshing top notes. The cologne opens with a vibrant burst of Sicilian bergamot and black pepper, creating an invigorating allure that commands attention. As the scent unfolds, it reveals a refined core of Tuscan leather and lush, verdant oakness, a timeless duo that exudes strength and finesse. The base of Velluto Notte is where the true depth and complexity of the fragrance comes to life. Warm, smoky notes of that's it's ridiculous that I even got that far without fucking something up. Yes, what? And the entire time I have this little mongrel here. What is it? What can I do for you? Come here. No, come up here so that everybody else can see you, so they don't think I'm just making shit up. Come here. Come here. Yeah, this one. Caught her lounging around. Yeah, I know. You're disrupting the entire flow of things.
Introducing the Velluto Notte, the latest Italian men's cologne by the renowned high-end brand.
Okay, that's not terrible because it's just not form-fitted yet. That's the only thing that sucks is that it's a long clip, so regenerating it is going to
Gianluca Milano. Designed for the modern man who embodies sophistication and elegance, the Velluto Notte is a secret that captivates and intrigues, a luxurious embodiment of nocturnal charm and charisma. At the heart of the Velluto Notte lies a harmonious blend of rich, earthy tones and
I don't think it's going to get like super close, but you guys have a really good understanding of where this is going. I think this is probably the coolest feature that I've come across so far for ElevenLabs. Or I should say it's nifty, but outside of the fact that you can clone practically any voice.
Introducing the Velluto Notte, the latest Italian men's cologne by the renowned high-end brand Gianluca Milano. Designed for the modern man who embodies sophistication and elegance, the Velluto Notte is a secret that captivates and intrigues, a luxurious embodiment of nocturnal charm and charisma.
That's really not bad. I think for Morgan it's something like that. I really do need to write them down.
Introducing Velluto Notte, the latest Italian men's cologne by the renowned high-end brand Gianluca Milano. Designed for the modern man who embodies sophistication and elegance, Velluto Notte is a scent that captivates and intrigues, a luxurious embodiment of nocturnal charm and charisma.
I mean, it's awesome. It's really awesome stuff. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed this week. I hope you enjoyed this cool awesomeness. It's hilarious that it only took 30 minutes to do this. I can't even remember what I spent the rest of the time doing, so I'm real sorry about that. Really would love to see what you guys have come up with, if any of you have played around with ElevenLabs, if any of you have played around with voice cloning. It is seriously fun stuff. I think in this last little bit here, what I'd like to do is try to clone mine. Oh, that's interesting, but I'm not gonna, that's gonna take a ton of time. What's going on here? Yeah, which I do have one, but noise free filtering. Yeah, no, totally. I've got my fan running behind me. Oh, that's baller. This is specifically for voiceover artists. I didn't even have to look at it twice. Just reading voice creation, verification, the fact that it's your voice. Right. That's cool. If you can, yeah, let's just do it from that. Okay. Let's see. Give me okay. Give me one moment, friends. Man, it is definitely nice to be able to put on some weight, some hold music for you guys. Not that I like putting anybody, I like putting anybody on hold, but no, sorry, I just had to run to grab my pop filter. I know I had one. It was just a matter of figuring out where I'd left it, and since I don't want to jar the hell out of you guys, hold on a second. Yeah, I just, you know what? I'm sorry, I put the elevator music back on. Just for you guys. Oh my gosh. This is probably why I didn't have this filter on in the first place, because it's such a pain. That and like, I'm doing client calls all week, so this is gonna be annoying for you guys, but even sure why this purports to be like a pop filter stand or whatever. Oh my gosh. There we go. It's not the end of the world, right? Oh, okay. I don't know. I guess, like, that's the weird aspect of it to me. Is like, okay, well, I guess I need this tiny... Hopefully this makes all the difference in the world. I seriously doubt that it will, but yeah. Okay. I'll have to open up a weird side part. So, let's do... Let's see. Can you guys even hear that? There, I bet you now you can hear it. One of these days. One of these days I'll have like true audio monitoring as opposed to being able to see. Like right now, what I can see is what the player is playing, desktop audio, and then my mic. But those are three very different levels of audio. So to me, it sounds like, it looks as though you guys can't really hear the synthwave music because my desktop audio is not quite that loud. But I'm not sure if that's actually, that's true or not. There we go. That should be the same level now. All day, every day. Okay. As the sun set over the horizon, casting a golden glow across the meadow, Eleanor knew that her life was about to change forever. In the heart of a bustling city, amid the cacophony of honking cars and chattering crowds, stood an old bookstore with secrets nestled within its dusty shelves. Captain James maneuvered the spacecraft through the asteroid belt, his eyes fixed on the glowing planet that was slowly coming into view. Alright, that'll do. Did you actually keep that clip? Yeah, cool. Who knows where it stopped? The kitchen was alive with the aroma of baking bread and simmering soup, as Grandma recounted the tales from her youth, each story more fascinating than the last. In the depths of the ancient forest, where the trees whispered secrets to one another, a hidden path led to a clearing known only to the bravest of adventurers. Adventurers. Rurrs. Hate those words. Adventurers. Adventurers. Like who? Honestly. Tongue-tying. The detective learned... Nope. No, he didn't learn. He didn't learn back into his chair, that's for sure. The detective leaned back into his chair, eyeing the evidence spread across his desk, each clue a piece of the puzzle in a mystery that was slowly unraveling. In the silence of the library, with the books towering over the... Wow, really? In the silence of the library, with the books towering like sentinels above him, Jacob discovered an old map that hinted at a long treasure. At long lost treasures, my god. So horrific at reading. In the silence of the library, with books towering like sentinels above him. Because it doesn't sound right to say books towering like sentinels around him. How do you tower around? Yeah, like, how do you tower above somebody? You don't, like, tower around them. Anyway. It visually doesn't make sense in my head. Sorry. In the silence of the library, with books towering like sentinels around him, Jacob discovered an old map that hinted at a long-lost treasure waiting to be found. It's close enough, man. I'll take it. So wonder I can ever get anything. Under the pale moonlight, the ancient castle stood, its towers I almost said its towers castelling. Under the pale moonlight, the ancient... I can't... Stop. Under the pale moonlight, the ancient castle stood, its towers casting long shadows across the landscape, as if holding centuries of untold stories within its stone walls. The market was a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds, with vendors calling out their wares in the air filled... The market was a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds, with vendors calling out their wares and the air filled with the scent of spices of fresh fruit and a symphony of life in motion. Should have said in a symphony of life in motion. Anyway. Deep beneath the ocean's surface, where the water was a world of its own, Marina... What? Yeah, I didn't read that properly at all. Yeah, I didn't read that properly at all. Deep beneath the ocean's surface, where the water was a world of its own, Marina discovered a coral kingdom, vibrant and teeming with life unknown to the land above. All right, let's see what we can do with those. Let's see, does this sound anything like me? I'll just go with the same settings for Mr. Freeman. We'll see what she does. We're 8 minutes over. I apologize for that. Introducing Velluto Notte, the latest Italian men's cologne by the renowned high-end brand, Gianluca Milano. Designed for the modern man who embodies sophistication and elegance, Velluto Notte is a scent that captivates and intrigues, a luxurious embodiment of nocturnal charm and charisma. Yeah, I think I'll be reading some books soon, and it won't be me. Anyway, thank you guys. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you guys for checking out the show. Hopefully, you guys got a lot out of learning how to clone voices. If not, definitely going to get into it again next week because I also want to play around with the ability to clone video and clone like people's faces onto video and stuff like that. So I want to do a nice little combination part 2 where we clone a voice and a face and smash them over a video and do some nifty things of that sort. But until then, keep your eyes open, keep your ears peeled, listen to the AI news that's coming about. Don't get passed up on it. Really, don't. The stuff that's the job loss is starting to mount. The job cuts are starting to happen. If you're paying close attention, you'll notice that the job replacements aren't following. So this is sort of that shift into the next phase of things, guys. That being said, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and look forward to seeing you guys again next time. Thanks for coming along to GPT with me.